First and foremost, let me just simply say thank you for coming out. I didn't know that this was a thing until about a day and a half ago. And but anyway, for all my friends and family that have come out here, my extended family, I just want to personally say thank you. I'm not a victim. Please do not look at me as a victim. Everything that has transpired over the last 2.5 years, I'm here because of the decisions I made, not what other people made, okay? What's important for me and for you to understand is simply this. And I'm not going to talk a lot about the details of why we're here, other than just to say that the same people that said I was the man for the job are the same people that have went on a smear campaign for lack of not going along with unethical issues that I perceived, and even some things that I feel like maybe are not necessarily right with financials. So I'm not standing on some type of moral righteous high. What I'm telling you is that along the way, this started shortly, about 2.5 years ago, shortly after I was appointed, and we won't get into it. But my obligation really is to you, the people. And the only thing that I regret, and maybe I shouldn't, is that I thought those that were in leadership wanted me because they really wanted a job to get done. But apparently it's not really about one mobile or the job. It really is about these other things, the lust of power, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life. So I will tell you today, and I'll keep it brief, thank you, but certainly this is a spiritual battle more than it is anything. And so what happens in the physical first happens in the spiritual, in that we haven't done our part to pray for our leaders. I'm not going to disparage anybody. What I'll simply say is those at the highest level, including me, and I'll start off with 2 Corinthians 13. As believers, we have to examine ourselves. So before I can point my finger at anybody, I have to examine myself to make sure that what I'm doing is right, not for propping myself up or making me to be some moral, righteous guy, but to do right first and foremost by God. That's who I report to. That's who I'm scared of. I suppose what the administration failed to understand is what they thought they were getting was not what they got. Yeah, that's right. So, saying that to say this, I often wondered why I got that job, because my whole career, when I say I don't go along to get along, I go along to get along with anybody so long as it's not unethical and it's not criminal, okay? So, they didn't know. The whole time I'm thinking about that, the truth is, Lord, why am I here? And the truth is I thought it was really to portray. Y'all not, hey, don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby. We ain't here for that today. We do need to pray for somebody that'll carry the mantle. But let me simply say this. I question myself why the Lord oftentimes gave me that job with the burden. Because the Lord, my wife will tell you, when I took that job, I told her I wouldn't do, there's no way I'll do 4 years. I had an expectation to do 4 years, but there was no way that I would do it, but I walked in faith. And I thought it was so that I had a platform to give my testimony. But the truth of the matter is, it's because of today. And evil prevails, in my opinion, when good men and women sit back in the shadows and do nothing. We were at an all-time high in crime in the city. We were bleeding as an organization. We had to turn it around. Bully tactics, fear tactics have been involved in that organization my entire career. And that's why we did the things we did to make the change. Now, I'm not here to justify my character, but reducing attrition in 48% in 2 years is not indicative of fear tactics. reducing crime and having a 35-year low is not indicative of fear tactics and bully tactics. So why are we here today? We're here today because those that are really empowered, the chief of police ain't empowered. We're here today because an administration decided that I was not going to go along to get along. Okay? I have to answer to my God for all that I do. I have faced death, and it's not rhetoric, it's not talk. And what I would challenge you, that if you are men and women of faith, our responsibility is to God, it's not to men. So I have a retirement, don't feel sorry for me. I'll go off and do what I do. I told my wife, I think I'm done with police work. I want to go sell hammers at Lowe's and just shop around while I'm in there working or something. But to the men and women of the department, let me say this. Collectively, you stand, you control the narrative, and that is a force that can't be reckoned with. When you know, things went south last year, when they asked me to be involved in things that were unethical, possibly criminal for me. But then when you reach out to my family, I draw the line there. Okay? There's two things I don't do. I don't play around with the good Lord, and I don't play around with my family. We're spending taxpayers' dollars to paint a narrative of an individual, but that's just a sideshow. The sideshow of what's being said about me, that's the sideshow. The real issue is I'm not on the team.